Good, every step. Good job.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Memorial Day ceremony. My name is Bob Chesia. I serve as a member of Scituate Historical Society. And on behalf of the town, the Veterans Services Department, the Select Board, the Veterans Advisory Council, and our distinguished guests, it's an honor to speak with you today and to be the first to welcome you to Scituate's Memorial Day Ceremony 2023. I want to begin by introducing you to individuals you see behind me. Our town officials. Jim Boudreau, he's somewhere. I don't think he's behind me. Select Board, Mr. Andrew Goodrich, Ms. Maura Curran, Ms. Karen Canfield, Karen Conley. Tony Vignani's not here, but I'd like to thank him for 22 years of service to the town. And our newest member of the Select Board, Susan Harrison. Don Knapp, Director of Veteran Services for the town of Scituate. Mr. Dennis Bedore, Commander of American Legion Post 144. Distinguished guests, Joe Connors Jr., Todd Malone, United States Marine Service, retired. Keynote speaker, Captain Joe Mitchell of the United States Air Force, a veteran. Mr. Joseph Kelly, Veterans Advisory Council, and a Gold Star parent. Scituate High School trumpeters who will play taps with the band. Lauren Flynn, our soloist for the national anthem. In 1963, the U.S. Congress designated Gold Star Mother's Day as the last Sunday in September. It was officially expanded to include Gold Star Fathers in 2012. The Gold Star family is a present-day term referencing a family that paid the ultimate sacrifice in fighting for our nation's freedom. The town would like to acknowledge all the Gold Star families for their ultimate sacrifice in fighting for our nation's freedom. We're not certain when Veterans Memorial Day actually started. It originally was Decoration Day. We think it may have taken place in Charleston, South Carolina, where some of the recently freed African Americans decorated the graves of fallen soldiers. But on May 1868, General John A. Logan, the Commander-in-Chief of the Union Veterans Group, known as the Grand Army of the Republic, issued a decree that May 30th should become a nationwide day of commemoration for the more than 620,000 soldiers killed in the recently ended Civil War. On Decoration Day, as Logan dubbed it, Americans should lay flowers and decorate the graves of the war dead whose bodies lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. According to legend, Logan chose May 30th because it was a rare day that did not fall on an anniversary of a Civil War battle, although some historians believe the date was selected to ensure that flowers across the country would be in full bloom. At this time, I would like to welcome to the podium Deacon Mattie Henry from St. Mary's of the Nativity Parish. Deacon Mattie, would you please lead us in the invocation?
We gather here together on this Memorial Day 2023 to honor all those men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice, giving their lives for our country and our freedoms, as well as all of our veterans who served and made it home to their loved ones, but whose lives were changed and impacted in ways only they know, and especially all of them who are here with us today. As I was preparing this invocation, I was reminded of a movie that I'm sure most of you here remember. It's called Saving Private Ryan. A squadron of young soldiers were sent on a mission to find one soldier behind enemy lines and bring him home. Most of the young men in the squadron, including the captain, die in the rescue attempt. As he lies dying, the captain's last words to Private Ryan are, "Earn this, earn this." Many years later, Private Ryan, now an old man, visits the grave of his captain. As he kneels at the grave, he says, "Not a day goes by I don't think about what happened. And I just want you to know I tried. Tried to live my life the best I could. I hope that's enough. I didn't invent anything. I didn't cure any diseases. I worked a farm. I raised a family. I lived a life. I only hope in your eyes at least I earned what you did for me." A beautiful and important sentiment for all of us to remember and to live by. Our veterans, by their sacrifices, have earned for us the freedoms that we enjoy and the ability to live our lives in peace, to work, raise our families, and love our God, just to name a few. May we never take what they have earned for us for granted, and always be grateful and thankful for their service and their sacrifices. May God bless all veterans and their families, and may He bestow His abundant love and peace on all of them.
Thank you, Deacon Mattie. Now, Scituate Pack 7, the Scout Troop 7 will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We will now have welcoming remarks from Select Board Member Andrew Goodrich.
Every few days from spring to late fall, a meaningful dichotomy happens just a few hundred feet away from here. It's the juxtaposition of the Cudworth Veteran Cemetery and the families and children playing Little League and soccer at the Cudworth Fields. Those two places have very different purposes. Yet, once you realize what's happening, you can never unsee it. Now, one may take the position that it's disrespectful to have some of those children playing so close to the cemetery. I think it might be just the opposite. Glancing at the cemetery can raise some important questions in one's mind. What would drive someone to sacrifice and die for their country? What cause is great enough that someone would give up their life for their fellow countrymen? Those questions are possibly answered when looking at the children, their parents, their grandparents, playing peacefully just a foul ball away. It becomes even more striking when you meet some of the new families that have moved to Scituate, some from faraway places, from the Middle East, Asia, Latin America, and Africa. Some families have moved here due to persecution, others simply for new opportunities. Yet all benefit from the sacrifice of those that we honor today. All have the ability to be at peace due to the sacrifice of so many of our service members who've given our lives. Now, it's difficult for a civilian, a bureaucrat, who has not personally experienced such loss of a loved one, to express the proper gratitude to those families that have. But likely, I never could. So, if our gratitude, while warranted, is still insignificant, what else can we do to honor those who have given everything? Well, what we could do is hold on to those values exposed and expressed by the sacrifice of those that did. Values that profess that injustice can never be tolerated, that freedom is worth defending, and as the world's greatest nation, we have a duty to stop tyranny. I'd like to mention the Cub Scouts, who earlier just led us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They have a Cub Scout law that all Scouts take. I won't repeat it all, but it states that a Scout is trustworthy and loyal and so forth. But it ends with this word, reverent. It's a wonderful word. The meaning of the word comes from the Latin reverentium, meaning high honor and standing in awe of. I can think of no better word today. As citizens and neighbors, the best we can ever do to remember the service and sacrifice is to be reverent and stand in awe. Stand in awe of their love of country, stand in awe of their love for their fellow countrymen, stand in awe of their sacrifice, even when we're simply retrieving that foul ball. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Maura Curran from the Select Board will now read the Governor's Memorial Day Proclamation.
Thank you, Bob, and good morning. Thank you all for attending this beautiful ceremony. A proclamation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Whereas while the nation was still recovering from the horrors of the Civil War, people in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor those Union and Confederate soldiers who had given their lives celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country, renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May, is when people remember and honor the memory of all the men and women who fought and died all American wars and conflicts. And whereas throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life, and whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans, and whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom. Now therefore I, Maura Healey, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 29, 2023 to be Memorial Day, and urge all the citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston the first day of May in the year 2023, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 246. By Her Excellence, Maura Healey, Governor of the Commonwealth, Lieutenant Governor Kimberly Driscoll, and Executive of the Commonwealth, William Francis Galvin.
Thank you, Maura. Now I would like to welcome to the podium Mr. Dennis Bedore, Commander of American Legion Post number 144. Dennis?
Well, I think good afternoon. Weather is great, and I'm not a long-winded speaker. But I will tell you one thing. I am a Vietnam veteran, and what makes me the proudest that all these people show up to honor the men that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I do appreciate it. And I will get on with my day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. He's a man of few words unless you really know him. Thanks a little bit. Now the Gates Intermediate School will play Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle Dandy was what the Bates sister played at the lighthouse to drive the British away. I think if the band was there, the war would have ended sooner. It's now my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Captain Joe Mitchell. Captain Mitchell served our nation for 8 years, achieving the rank of captain. He accumulated 1,400 hours of fighter time in the F-11F and the F-15E as an instructor, weapons systems officer. He earned the Distinguished Flying Cross for heroism while engaged in aerial flight in the heavily defended skies over Kuwait City on February 2nd, 1991. Joe proudly serves on Massachusetts Governor Council's Advisory Council for Veteran Service, as well as Vice President of the ES Veterans Association, Incorporated, a nonprofit organization with a mission to support military and veterans causes in the New England region.
Good morning. As said, my name is Joe Mitchell, and I am an Air Force veteran. I'm also the treasurer of the John P. Connors Memorial Foundation. As a veteran, and as this is Memorial Day, I'm often actually feel a little uncomfortable when people wish me, Happy Memorial Day. As a veteran, I have my day, it's in November. Veterans Day is celebrated on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Memorial Day is not for me and other veterans that I see in the audience with their special hats, with pins, and others. This is the day to honor the fallen, those who have died in the service to our nation and the service for freedom. Like Sergeant Michael Kelly, Joe Kelly's son, and Lieutenant Junior Grade John P. Connors, the brother of my friend Joe Connors here. As you may be aware, the John Connors Memorial Foundation, we've been working diligently for the last 2+ years to erect a statue to our friend John Connors here in Scituate. The statue, it will be the likeness of John Connors, but what it really does, it's a memorial to all. It's to those who have given their lives in the service of our country nationwide, but specifically here in Scituate, it'll be similar to the other memorials that are around you today that honor those who died in the service of their nation, Scituate's sons and daughters in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Korean War, the Vietnam War, and there's even a memorial to Desert Shield and Desert Storm. This new memorial that we hope to site here, right at Lawson Park, will be to those since Desert Storm. John Connors was my classmate at WPI in 1987. I was commissioned in the United States Air Force and went on to serve proudly in the Air Force. John was commissioned in the United States Navy. John was a selfless individual and gave to his community. He was academically very strong and supported all around him. He certainly was selfless. He worked very diligently, very hard, and he became a Navy SEAL and was part of SEAL Team 4. On a December evening in 1989, during the invasion of Panama, John and his team were tasked with taking out Manuel Noriega's private jet at Patilla Airfield. He and his team faced quite a bit of resistance from the enemy, and his team was pinned down, and several of his teammates were injured and in distress. John was truly selfless, and he gave his life to save his SEAL team teammates. The Silver Star that he was awarded posthumously speaks of conspicuous gallantry to save his SEAL Team 4 members. They were victorious that evening, and John's sacrifice prevented the additional loss of life. The statue that we're hoping to erect here on the park will not have John's name on it. It'll have one word, Aliis, spelled A-L-I-I-S. It's Latin. It is in the dative case, meaning it has a couple different translations and means others. To others, for others, and with others. Those who have died in the service of their nation have done it for us, for their teammates, and have done it selflessly. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak here today, and I do want you to enjoy your day. But I want to leave you with something. One of the organizations I'm part of is the ES Veterans Association, and we have a very strong relationship with Wreaths Across America. You can look it up on the internet. In December, we bestow wreaths grown here in New England on all the gravestones in the military cemeteries. It's a very enjoyable day. You can bring your families. I highly recommend you participate in it. The motto of Wreaths Across America is to remember, honor, and teach. And when people are bringing wreaths and placing them on the headstones, Wreaths Across America asks us to say the name of the person on the headstone. It's been often said that a soldier dies twice. Once, when he takes his last breath, and second, when his name is said for the last time. Memorial Day is about remembering these people, saying their name, so they will live on forever. Thank you.
Now the high school band will play America the Beautiful by Carmen Dragon and Jay Dawson. That was an outstanding job. Thank you, Jim, Adam, and the band. Now we're going to do a reading of the names of Scituate veterans who have passed this year. Since last memorial, reading the names today is Joseph P. Kelly, Chairperson, Veterans Advisory Council, Gold Star Parent. Boston Tower Bells will be played by our musician, Lene Badger.
Donald M. Frieda, Korea. Donald M. Litchfield, peacetime. Henry E. Sullivan, Korea. John G. Foley, Korea. John J. Ferry, Korea. John H. Grader, Korea. James Patrick O'Brien, Jr., Vietnam. John Joseph Whalen, Navy. Albert Wilson Needham, Korea. James Joseph Young, peacetime. William C. Perkins, Korea. John O'Brien, Korea. James F. Murphy, Vietnam. Richard D. Young, peacetime. George Duradian, World War II. Stephen F. Downing, Vietnam. William F. Scott, Korea. George R. Melanson, Korea. Francis Robert Street, Vietnam. Edward D. Forbes, Jr., Navy. Gabriel Jacoby, Korea. Raymond Peters, Jr., Vietnam. Robert Charles Scott, Vietnam. George Alfred Baker, Air Force. Peter Gerald Fallon, Jr., Vietnam. Gregory Paul North, Vietnam. Donald A. Giuliano, Korea. Harold E. Blanchard, Jr., Vietnam. Francis J. Sheehan, Jr., Korea. Conley Winston Ford, Vietnam. Harold Joseph Barthold III, peacetime. Donald J. Dodds, World War II. Alex Martin Holder, Jr., Vietnam. Ronald August Braun, Korea. Joseph P. Noble, peacetime. Ronald F. Carty, Korea. Walter Carl Phil, Korea. Eugene G. Cohen, peacetime. Reed F. Stewart, World War II. John R. Pugsley, Vietnam. Donald Stephen Cook, Korea. John P. Connors, Panama. Michael Jason Kelly, Afghanistan. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Now our flag ceremony will be conducted by the American Legion Post 144 and Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 3169. Taps will be played by Scituate High School Band, the Scituate High School Band, and the national anthem will be performed by our soloist, Lauren Flynn.
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
That was awesome. Thank you, Lauren. And just in time, the wind picked up for the flag. So I want to thank the band and Lauren. We will close. I'm going to ask Deacon Mattie from St. Mary Parish of the Nativity to lead us in the benediction.
Lord God, keep us ever mindful of the service and sacrifices of all our veterans, living and deceased. May we always be grateful for all the freedoms and blessings we enjoy because of their service. May the example of their sacrifice inspire in us the selfless love of your Son Jesus, who gave his life for us. Please protect all our women and men who are currently serving. Be their guiding force who leads the way and their rear guard who keeps them safe from behind. Bless the families of all of our fallen heroes, all our veterans, and all those men and women currently serving. Fill their homes and their lives with your strength and your peace. And may our servicemen and women always feel our support and love. And we ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon Mattie. I'd be amiss if I didn't mention Eleanor Grossman, who was the chaplain of the Post 144. She did this for many, many years. But Deacon Mattie, you stepped in and filled the shoes. Thank you. I'd like to end by thanking those who made this day's tribute to our veterans possible. Mike Green and his great staff from the Scituate VW, who once again worked so hard to maintain all our public grounds. As you can tell, the park is in awesome shape. Thank you, Mike and crew. Our police and fire departments for their outstanding work and dedication to our community. The American Legion Post, number 144. The high school and Gates Intermediate School bands for their great job. Pack 7 and Troop 7, who have volunteered with flag placements. Our Harbor Master, Stephen Moan, who has done a superb job of organizing the laying of the wreath at sea to honor the men and women who lost their lives on the oceans of the world. Also, to all the organizations who marched, in the parade, a special thanks to Captain Joe Mitchell for his service to our country and for taking the time to honor us with his keynote address. And without saying, a special thanks to everyone who showed up. This is a great crowd. Give yourself a hand of applause. Immediately following this ceremony, there will be a flag ceremony at the Veterans Cemetery on Cudworth Road. Thanks again for being here. Have a great day.